Hi guys, yesterday I had done a brief video on the transits and how they're affecting the current events with Roe v Wade being overturned yesterday. I had kind of briefly discussed how Saturn is interacting with the moon, the North Node, and Uranus. Saturn being a restrictive energy, the moon ruling motherhood, and Uranus being sudden change. And I had kind of briefly touched on the North Node, and I had described it as chaotic energy. I kind of want to go into that a little bit further. So the North Node rules forward motion and the future. Now, I kind of just gave it that real quick description as chaos energy because if you think about the past and the present, those are determined. There's certain security and determination, but with the future, that can feel so chaotic or abrupt or, unsure. And so that's why when a transit is interacting with the North Node, it can feel to us, by our experience, kind of chaotic. It does not have the certainty and security that the past and the present have. So the next thing I had talked about was how Venus had entered Gemini, which is the gathering and spread of information, and with Venus there, how it's the gathering and spread of information for women. And I kind of just touched on how Jupiter and Mars in Aries is creating like a big conflict energy right now. But, conflict isn't always bad. There's drive to that, so take a look at my previous video on these transits, but today I kind of want to have more of like a spiritual discussion, kind of go into my own beliefs and how they're influenced by astrology. I want to move away from just that overview of how government decisions are affecting the direction of the country. So today I'm really excited. It's kind of a topic I've wanted to go into for a while. I'm going to talk about the divine feminine and the divine masculine, because I want to discuss how is this event the goddess trying to communicate with us? What is the goddess trying to tell us? What way is goddess energy trying to make a change here for us? So I'm actually kind of inspired because yesterday I had a problem with my video, like right dead set in the middle. I had mentioned the word unrest, so my Aquarius rising kind of immediately went to, oh, it's Microsoft, it's the NSA, they're censoring me, and all kinds of crazy conspiracy stuff that us Aquarians like. But I was talking to my best friend today. She's Rose of Infused Yoga, and she had mentioned to me that there's a lot of people who work with deities and they're having similar problems. And when she's first telling me this, I'm like, oh yeah, Uranus kind of rules technology in some ways, and with it conjunct the North Node, like I'm not surprised that my video got messed up, But then I put some thought into it, and with her input, I redirected my thoughts. I meditated on, what message am I receiving from the goddess? So, there is some more that I want to cover on authoritarian power structures, the transformations that we're going to be seeing soon. I'm going to kind of go into them today a little bit, but it's something I guess I've been scared to talk about for a while, but I think I'm just going to go for it. So I think right now the message that needs to be considered are, what are the positive implications of this for women. What does the divine feminine want? So I really believe that a lot of power has been taken away from women with this modern society that we have. And you know, I've done a lot of thinking on this, and I actually believe that right now we need to take this opportunity to take our power back. I think that this society has really pushed that everybody, masculine or feminine, that everybody needs to embody the divine masculine. So, you know, that whole go get that bag, because without 2 incomes, you're not going to be able to afford the things you need. There's no way you're going to be able to do it. Now, yes, I 100% see that without the freedom to work, women are at risk for financial abuse. But here's the thing. This is not our choice anymore. The general population does not have the choice that if they're a woman and they want to stay home and they want to make a family and they want to take care of a home and they want to take care of their husband and they want to take care of their kids, we don't have that choice anymore. You know, we are restricted into this role of how everyone has to be a provider. We have lost that choice. So with life, you know, and life is getting so much more expensive too, you know, but even before all this, life has gotten too expensive for women to choose to be at home, taking care of their home and family. Think about Cancer, the sign of Cancer, you know, the mother, the nurturer, the home, the family, the 4th house. You know, every bit of astrology applies to a part of life, a part of the human experience. So here is kind of a bigger issue too. So because women are trapped in this divine masculine role, men are not in their power. So, you know, we hear about this every day, you know, baby daddies that refuse to pitch in, refuse to help provide for their families, just refuse to be present, you know, men who are refusing to take on the role of protector, provider, and pursuer. You know, and it's sad because it's so common that when you find, you know, when there's so many men out there that are in their masculine, they wonder why they can't find a good woman. You know, when you do find men who are in their divine masculine, they're sitting around wondering where their partner, where their woman is, who wants to nurture him with her divine feminine, who wants to guide him with her insight, who wants to make his home comfortable and problem and conflict free, you know, where he has a space that he can enjoy and he can relax and be happy. You know, there's so many men now who complain about how women are so aggressive and they're starting fights with them over nothing, you know. Well, when you have 2 people and they're in their masculine, that's Mars energy. Mars is conflict energy. It's drive as well, and we're, you know, being forced to have this drive, but it is creating a conflict energy when you're trying to create a home with 2 people who are behaving in Mars energy. So it's kind of like, what do you think will happen when there's no balance? There's no Mars, Venus balance. There's no feminine, masculine balance. What ends up happening is you have 2 people with, you know, conflict energy, and there's going to be a lot of arguments and just unhappiness, you know. So I really want to say that there are men out there who are in their divine, who are doing all the right things, who allow a woman to be in her divine. The thing is, it's because this society is pushing us all to have that drive and aggression and pursuit of money. Those are all divine masculine things. Those men who are still not finding the balance in masculine feminine relationships, it's kind of a difficult topic. You know, I think the other thing that it's introducing is women pursuing men. I see a lot of my girlfriends, and they're out there, you know, trying to impress a guy or get a guy to notice them, or, you know, doing the most to get this guy to like her. That is the male role. The female role is to be calm, to wait, to receive, and to recognize when you have a good thing, you know, and to cherish it and accept it, you know. So with that said, let's discuss how the goddess is pushing us to recognize our power. So women have the power to create life. So, you know, in ancient societies, we were revered for this, you know, and I'm going to try to, you know, censor myself a little bit, be a little less controversial, but a lot of our goddesses have been, you know, rebranded into male figures and roles. So I feel that in this modern society, there is just such little respect for women being a portal from the cosmos to our physical realm, you know. We get the choice for who we potentially create life with. Men pursue us, and we get to choose who we receive. So, now, being the events that just happened, I definitely want to say that it is a terrible disrespect of the goddess when a woman does not have consent. And that is a majorly different topic, but right now we're just talking about dating and relationships and the divine. So, kind of a little bit about me. Like 5 years ago or so, I made the conscious choice to stop accepting men that I didn't respect as a man. You know, kind of just, oh, you know, I like you, you know, you're good looking or whatever, and you're there, you're available. I think I realized at some point that I was trapping myself in bad relationships or becoming exposed to bad relationships, because I personally didn't realize how much power I had in the selection process. This society tells us that we need to be beautiful enough, you know, that our beauty is what makes us good enough, and I was really affected by that when I was young, trying to prove myself. And then you know, the society tells us that we need to be career driven and successful enough. So I struggled with that, and I was so obsessed with success that and having zero expectation for the male role, that I actually became the supporter of a man in one of my relationships, and I realize now that that was a mistake. And then there's been periods of my life where I've just, you know, been out seeking dopamine. But in this case, I realized that you really have to protect your energy and preserve your ability to form secure attachments. And the reason behind this is women produce a lot of oxytocin and serotonin during sex, whereas men produce more dopamine. So as a woman, when you're producing the love chemical in a situation where there's no love, you're putting yourself at risk for forming anxious attachment styles. So, and of course, you know, you do you, live your best life. If you feel like you gotta have your hoe phase, do it. Just realize that there are physical chemicals going on in your brain, and to be protective of yourself, you know. So the chemicals in your brain, they're simple. You have to be highly conscious. So if I feel that a lot of women suffer because they want to have fun, but subconsciously they are associating these encounters with abandonment. And this isn't the same for men, you know, because for them, they're producing dopamine, so the experience is kind of like being on a roller coaster, or, you know, going shopping and buying something nice. You get that little rush. But, you know, like I said, we're producing serotonin and oxytocin at a high level. And men, when they're in love, because men do love and they fall in love very deeply, they do produce serotonin and oxytocin with their partner. And that's because they truly feel love in their heart, you know. But women can kind of be tricked into their body making them think that they're in love when, you know, they're not in love. Which reminds me of a Crystal Castles song that I really like. But anyways, so one thing I think we need to stop being so afraid to discuss like these differences between men and women too. We both have amazing power within us. It is a yin and yang. Positive and negative is what it's kind of called in astrology sometimes, and sometimes it's called masculine and feminine. But it's a polarity. So, you know, and opposites attract type energy. So, also, I just kind of want to put a little disclaimer out there. I mention it on my website when I'm doing love forecasts. This also applies to the masculine energy person or the feminine energy person in a relationship. This is not dependent on gender, but for simplicity's sake, we're going with, you know, terminology of man and woman. So going back to, we have the power as the feminine person in the relationship. We have the power to choose who we receive. So people who date women, like say you're online dating, if you're dating women, it is so much harder to get matches than for someone who dates men. If you go on a dating site as a woman, you're going to get that like 99 plus likes within like 15 minutes, whereas, you know, someone who's trying to get matches for women, there might get like 1 or 2, you know. So there is definitely, you have to recognize that there is so much availability of masculine energy than feminine energy. And, you know, we need to recognize that this is awesome for us. You know, we get to be picky. We get to choose who's right for us. But here's the thing. We do not get to choose who is right for us when we have someone who is wrong for us in that space. And I think that women have been fed this lie that we need to prove ourselves, when really we just need to be calm and wait and be secure in ourselves, and, you know, work on our self-improvement, do the things we love, and eventually fate will bring someone who you will recognize embodies the divine masculine to us. So, you know, when someone who does embody that divine masculine too, they will see you acting in your feminine, and they will want to prove to you that they are a fit partner to you. They will appreciate how much you have to give and contribute to their peace and security and the value you have. So, you know, if you're in the position where you're trying to prove how much value you have, it's the wrong way to look at it, because you should be waiting to find that one who knows what value you have. So, it's kind of funny because, like, certain truths have just become controversial, you know? Saying that a man is happy when he has a full belly, he's eating great food, that his children are happy because they're loved by their mother, when his wife is not so tired from work that he can come home and be desired, when his wife is not frustrated and bringing him constant conflict, when he has the support of the wisdom and intuition of a woman in all areas of his life. You know, in saying that those things make a man happy, you're saying a controversial, you know, topic. The fact that that's offensive to some people shows that, you know, this society not allowing a single income home and not allowing, you know, women and men to choose this lifestyle, because we're so trapped by having to make such a great amount of income. You know, I feel that that's showing the problem, and that's showing how much we have been brainwashed, you know. And I think a lot of people are recently realizing that we have been brainwashed into being corporate slaves, you know. So I feel that this is why Saturn, okay, so Saturn is the god of karma and represents the father. And the moon, Luna, she's the mother goddess. And I feel that that is why, you know, the energy of Saturn and the moon are, you know, kind of making this play out. So I think we all know that our society is messed up in a lot of ways. And one thing we need to think about is Pluto is going to be in Aquarius soon. So the events that we're seeing now are kind of end of an age events. We're not going to be in the age of Aquarius really for our lifetime unless they figure out a way to get us to live longer, but we are living through the end of an age. And in the Aquarian age, it's going to be about community, it's going to be about working together. And I feel that we all want that. We all want, like, some peace and not just to be, you know, a drone that goes to their corporate job and suffers, you know. We want to be able to rely on our community and have, you know, work together. I think that that's what the, you know, Saturn's in Aquarius right now. Pluto will still be in Aquarius. I'm seeing so much topic about, you know, like commune type living, sustainable living. These are all Aquarian topics, you know. So I think if we're ever going to achieve being able to function as a community, we need to start as being able to function in our own homes, you know, to have teamwork within our own homes and have a natural structure, you know, more natural roles if we want them, you know. I think we should have that choice. So I'm not really surprised that the beginning of Cancer season in such tumultuous times is bringing the restrictions to women like this. I think it's essentially forcing women to be in their feminine and embody the goddess, to stop accepting, you know, I'm sorry, but stop accepting such low quality into our life and stop taking on so much responsibility onto ourselves and thinking that that's the only way. You know, because I just see so many women who the man is not helping at all, and you know, so you start to think like, oh, it's all on you. But one day I realized, I was like, wait a minute, why am I taking any risk? Like even a 0.0001 risk of reproducing with a man who won't take care of his family and who doesn't take on these responsibilities so that he can have a healthy and happy family. Like, why would I choose to reject a gift of fate because I have zero expectations for the father to be responsible? You know, and it's because society has allowed this, and we have allowed this because we have honestly been duped. Like, we have been duped into thinking that we need to wear all the hats in the household because we don't have the power of choice to choose a man that embodies the gods Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars. And we have been duped into thinking that we do not embody the goddess Luna, Venus, and Persephone. Really
So
quick,
we've got
the god Saturn, and Saturn rules Capricorn, and traditionally it rules Aquarius. So Capricorn rules like work, achievements, and Aquarius rules like the structure that you work within. So I'm going to try to be really brief on each one of these. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and traditionally it rules Pisces. Sagittarius rules the 9th house, and really briefly, Jupiter is expansion. It makes things grow. It makes things bigger. It goes out into the world and gathers information and does things with, its knowledge, Mars rules Aries, and traditionally Scorpio. Scorpio is the feminine internal expression of Mars, but Aries is about individual drive, and like a go-getter mentality. So these things are like what you should be looking for in a man. So I had said Saturn represents the father. The father should teach structure, responsibility, work ethic. The man should be able to go out into the world and make something of his experiences. He should be driven and self-assured with that Aries energy. So very briefly, on the women's side, we've got the moon. And the moon rules Cancer. It's protective, it's nurturing. Everybody knows a Cancer that wants to make sure that you're fed. It rules comfort and security, as well as Venus does. I had talked about in my last video how in Taurus, the moon rules Cancer, and then Venus rules Taurus and Libra. Taurus is kind of what you have and what you need to be comfortable and secure. Those material items, being able to nourish your body. And then Libra is being selective and being just with, your material possessions and your decisions. So it's, Libra is also very selective on making sure that what they do have in their life is beautiful. And Taurus, there's a lot of beauty and sensuality to Taurus, but it's kind of like the love of having that excess, whereas Libra gets a little bit more selective with its Venus energy. And then I had briefly kind of said how with men, Mars does rule Scorpio as well traditionally, but Scorpio is the feminine energy of Mars. So that's where I want to talk about Persephone. You know, she's like the goddess of the underworld. She goes to the underworld for half the year, and that's when we have winter and limited fertility, and then she comes back in the spring, and that's when, you know, everything is beautiful and flowers and, you know, baby little animals are born, and just everything is so awesome. You're finally coming out of that like cold, barren winter and entering a beautiful, lively spring, you know, and that transformation. So in modern astrology, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and Pluto is Persephone. So it's so relevant to women because we go through such transformations in life, you know. We are the maiden, and then we are the mother, and then we are the crone, you know. And in most traditional, of course, not everybody becomes a mother. I'm not a mother myself, but that's the phases of life. In, you know, if you're looking at life from kind of an ancient culture perspective. And regardless of if you become a mother or not, you know, you have that choice. So you still will go through so many transformations in your life because you are still guided by an embodiment of Persephone. So we just need to remember that we have goddess energy within us, and that men have the energy of the gods within them, and we need to look for someone who embodies and has that inner power of the gods and those energies. And with that in mind, really quick, how Libra gets very selective with its Venus energy. Remember that Libra rules the 7th house. The 7th house is the house of marriage. Well, the 7th and 8th houses are the houses of marriage, but the 8th house is about like intimacy, connection, and sharing. Whereas the 7th house is that one-on-one relationship, right? So Venus in Libra wants us to be selective and choose wisely in our relationships, and to be just to ourselves and to others in choosing the person who we're going to have a relationship with. Okay, so overall, earlier I had said, let's look at the positives of this. That doesn't mean that I believe that government restriction on women is a positive thing. I mean to alter your perspective that, you know, at this moment, you are being guided not to look at this like a limit of your freedom of choice, but look at this with the energy of Venus in Libra and realize that you have an amazing power of choice. You have the amazing power of choice in your relationships. So be grateful for what you do have. Of course, you know, fight to maintain your rights. Just remember to practice gratitude and to reflect and listen to the message and energy of the goddess. Okay, little blooper here as well. I had said that Pluto is Persephone. I want to just clarify that a little bit. Pluto is technically Hades, but if you look into the myths, a really awesome one of Hades and Persephone, they are the god and goddess of the underworld, and that's why I say Pluto is Persephone. I mean that Pluto represents the god and goddess energy as they are connected to the underworld, and we talked about how the 8th house rules connection and partnership and sharing. So when I say Pluto is Persephone, it's kind of because Hades and Persephone are intertwined. And quick little like fun fact about Pluto. It's kind of like an astronomy fact, not an astrology fact, but I think it's pretty cool. So you know how we always see the same face of the moon? Well, Pluto is gravitationally locked to its moon as well, so Pluto always sees the same face of its moon. But the really cool thing is that the moon is gravitationally locked to Pluto as well. So Pluto and its moon are kind of partners. They always are looking into each other's faces, and I just think that that is so romantic. The story of Hades and Persephone isn't really romantic, but I do kind of find it very romantic that Scorpio, which, you know, the idea of like marriage and connection and sharing and everything being intertwined within a marriage in Scorpio, and then you've got Pluto and its moon, and they're gravitationally locked to each other. I just kind of find that really fascinating and romantic. But like low-key, I have a 7th house stellium, so I'm kind of a hopeless romantic. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's my 2nd video. I was a little shy again, but I think I did better this time. So I'm Christine Smith of astroandarts.com. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm trying to shoot these videos so that even somebody who knows very little about astrology can take something from them. And follow me for my newsletter. I publish I guess like a blog on my website. So thank you again, and have a good day. Remember to practice gratitude and be in your power.